Hey there, guys. Today, we're going to talk about, I'm going to introduce you to my channel. It's going to be called Thanatos' Astrology channel. My name is Noah. My dad wanted to name me Thanatos, and something about it just stuck, so this is my way of living that out. Anyways, astrology. It's an ancient science, spiritual practice, divination. Tarot cards, palmistry, they go along with it. It's funny, if you research these things, you'll find that, like, in palmistry, like, certain parts of your hand are associated with the planets. And let me tell you why you should be somewhat intrigued. Something that will, like, catch your interest. Because I know we think with very logical and scientific minds nowadays. So, the moon controls the tide in the ocean, correct? We're 80% water. Why would the gravity not affect us too? You know, you have to think. Astrology has stood consistent for a time innumerable. You have to think Christianity, the religion, started 0 to 300, 400 AD. That is very tiny in a time scale in comparison to, like, our furthest recorded historical documents go back 4,000 to 5,000 BC. And astrology was always present. Something about it is very special, and it's never stopped. Mankind's, I guess you could call it obsession with the stars. And you have to think, too, Earth. If we were on a different star up there, we're a star. Like, if that makes sense. Anyways, I digress. Another thing that a lot of people disregard is, I know I keep referring to Christianity, but that's because the religion's kind of, ever since about the 1700s, they've kind of clashed with astrology. But you'll find it's actually really interesting. You know, as soon as Christianity, to recent couple hundred years ago, astrology and it went hand in hand. Astronomy and astrology separated for hard science reasons. I guess it's understandable, but to each their own, truly. But the three wise men that found Jesus, they followed a star. They were astrologers. The three wise men were astrologers. There's a lot of murkiness that's kind of like between Christianity and astrology, but also the main Bible verse that was used to diss astrology from Christians was about King Solomon. God gave him a command or something and was like, this is how you're going to do this, and you need to do it, otherwise bad things will happen. So he turned to the fortune tellers and other wise men, as the story goes, and astrologers, and sought help that was already, like, going against God's word, I guess, in that religion. So anyways, the story of the lesson, the lesson of the story there should have been for that religion to not go seeking answers when God has given a clear answer. That should kind of wrap things up there. Anyways, let's get down to the actual. So, what I have for you is, it kind of looks like a birth chart, but I mean, it's not really anything like a birth chart. Anyways, this is a wheel that describes the 12 zodiacs, zodiac signs, I guess, and kind of shows you the real depth and intricacy that goes into astrology. You'll notice here, first sign you have is Aries, and is a sign associated with the element fire. And it follows a pattern, a very sacred pattern. You know, they always talk about the 4 elements. I mean, there's actually 5 elements with ether, but we'll talk about that a different day. Anyways, the 4 elements of nature: fire, earth, air, water. Fire, earth, air, water. Fire, earth, air, follows a pattern. There's another pattern too. Cardinal, fixed, mutable. Cardinal, fixed, mutable, and so on. This is really important in first understanding astrology because well, it shows the interconnectedness of everything. Our world is a synchronistic world. Things line up. Everything is connected. The orbit of the planets, if you just adjusted one planet just by the slightest bit, like its gravity or its like place in the whole circle, that like the rotation in the solar system, everything would be thrown off. There'd be mass, like for just us on Earth, there would be cataclysmic events. It's that deeply interconnected, and when the planets do certain things and make certain aspects, and the gravity, there's just pull. It like is kind of like your spine. It's like it just holds everything together. Anyways, we'll go off just with some basics here. So, Aries, every sign has a ruling planet associated with it. Aries is Mars. Aries is kind of known for the warrior archetype. Taurus is Venus, known for appreciating sensual, material, earthly things. Gemini is Mercury. Very communicative, very, very communicative, the twins. That's what the Gemini sign is. So, I mean, there's already a lot of internal dialogue, so of course there's going to be a lot of external dialogue. Cancer. Cancer is very emotional, very deeply feeling. They might not show it on the outside, but they definitely pick up on subtle things in the air, and that gives them intuition. You can like just notice when the vibe is off slightly, and that's what Cancer is about, basically. Leo, another the second fire sign, associated with the sun. Very passionate, beautiful, loves to be in the spotlight. Whether they try to get it into it or not, but they just kind of end up being the center of attention. Not necessarily in a bad way neither. Leo's known as the sign of kings and queens. Virgo, known as the angels. Not necessarily angels per se, but very grounded, very logical, very down to earth. But caring and healthy, and the good aspects that would like be tied with Mother Earth or Gaia, the archetype. Libra, the scales. Libra is known to be a very communicative and fair sign. They're known to be some of the most fair people in general. They always weigh out both sides of a dispute, and a lot of the times that can leave them in the middle because they can see the perspective of both sides. Scorpio. Oh yeah, Virgo's ruled by Mercury, planet of communication. Venus rules Libra, planet of beauty, love, money. Scorpio, ruled by Pluto. Oh, and Cancer is ruled by the moon. Forgot to mention that too. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. Pluto is known as the planet of transformation. Scorpio used to be known to be ruled by Mars, along with Aries. With our discovery of Pluto, the archetype that was associated with the planet is much more fitting. Even though Pluto is actually translated to Hades in Greek, the god of the underworld, Pluto's known to have the darkness in their life is ever present, but under that, if they can get through it, and most do, some do, you'd hope that most do, is utter beauty and transformation, because, when a seed germinates into a flower, the transformation is beautiful. That's what Pluto's lesson is. Scorpio is very sensual and feels and very, very, very intuitive and psychic. Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, the planet of expansion. Sagittarius is, you know how Leo's were the kings and queens. Sagittarius are the life of the party. I'll tell you that much. They love fun. They love to laugh. And they're constantly seeking to not only benefit themselves, but benefit the people around them. Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, planet of restriction. Capricorn is the sign that is associated with the winter solstice. It can be a very depressing and restrictive sign, but once you get to know a Capricorn, you'll see that their true nature is fun-loving and gentle and very, 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 they love the earth. They take care of it as their own. Capricorns are known to be materialistic, but I'd say that's the old aspect of Capricorn. Capricorn's much more defender of the earth archetype. We'll get into that in another video. Aquarius, ruled by Uranus, the planet of revolution, changes in society. Aquarius is associated with the future, sci-fi, all the stuff they feed you, and from the media and stuff. Star Wars is a perfect example of like a war in an Aquarian way. But Aquarius is also known to be like, well, you guys know about the age of Aquarius. It's supposed to be peace on earth, love, abundance actually. They're a very important sign in what's to come. Lastly, we have Pisces. Pisces is a lot of them, not a lot of them, but like is associated with the other side. A lot of Pisces have this dream world that's just happening right side by side in the normal world, and they see things as possibly how they should be or how they perceive them. It's just a very, very, it's supposed to be one of the most psychic and intuitive and emotional signs. It may not show it, but it's a very spiritual sign, honestly. Not that any of these are less spiritual than anything else, it's just Pisces is very connected to the other side. Oh yeah, last thing too. So the elements in astrology are associated. To really, really give a basic sum up and introduction, water has to do with emotions and intuition. Earth has to do with stability and practicality. Air has to do with intellect and communication. Fire has to do with excitement and vitality in the soul. Now, before you be like, alright, this is bogus BS, a birth chart is so much more than just a sun sign. So much more. The sun can be your weakest aspect in your birth chart. The sun sign is just what we go off of because the sun sign is associated with your personality. We'll touch on this more in a later video, but I hope I've given you a nice introduction to the magic of the stars. And you guys have a good day. Peace out.